What is up, everybody? Night Slasher 112 back at it again with part 2 of this Let's Play walkthrough series. Anyway, the first playthrough did amazing. The first episode, I should say, did amazingly. 2 people liked it, my mom and my sister, really great. And with that success was so good I could not resist doing another one. I should mention this is actually my second time doing this audio. Because no other reason than I just simply deleted the audio for the video. Because that is the only thing that a smart person would do, is they would delete audio for a video. So that's great. Anyway, I realized that I was a little bit boring in the first video, and I also realized that the sound wasn't very good. So I'm now recording it with Audacity in the hopes that it's going to be better. So, anyway, rather than talking about what's happening in the game, I think I'm just going to talk in general about a little bit about myself and who I am. I realize I'll probably have to make this video again because nobody actually watches my videos right now, and when they do, I can't expect them to have watched part 2 of my Shadow Warrior playthrough. That would be ridiculous. So, what's going to happen is I'm just going to make this video now because I really don't have a lot to talk about. And we'll just see how it goes because there's nothing else I can really do. Like I said, I had some audio for this, but it got lost. But even then, it's not the best because everybody ought to know I'm kind of new to this, so I'm not very good at saying interesting things. But anyway, I am, well, in a sense, I am from the United States. That's where I was born. That's where I grew up. I grew up in the South. Okay, I don't want to get too much more specific than that. I have a mom and a dad. They're divorced now. I also have a half-sister who I haven't spoken to in 5 years. So, I have a pretty simple life, really. I lived in the South for the first 14 years of my life. Didn't go anywhere. Just sort of lived there and did my own thing. My dad, his profession through my childhood was he was a polo player. That's what he did. And my mom, she was a rider of sorts. But as my dad got older, it got a lot harder for him to ride on a horse because it can be a little bit of a difficult sport. So then he resorted to refereeing, and he did that for a while. And if you don't know what polo is, I don't know a lot about it. Basically, people ride horses and they hit balls with sticks. That's the gist of it. It's really fascinating. Wouldn't recommend watching it though. It never piqued my interest. Riding never piqued my interest, so I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But anyway, my mom, she wrote stuff like, I don't know, whatever she did. She wrote articles in magazines about polo. Sort of shared a similar thing to my dad. He would go and he would play, and my mom would write about it. Basically something like that. But that it has long since passed, and we are now in the time of my dad. He really hasn't had, for many years, a stable profession like that. He did things like he worked with a friend of his called Adolphus, and I'm not going to go into detail about who he is at the moment, but he's a guy that's got lots of work that needs to be done. So that's what my dad does now, and that's what he did. And that's the gist of it. My mom, she is now a writer still, but this time she actually wrote a book. And it's actually a book based off of when we were living in the South. A friend of hers that she met, well, a book is based on him because he's a pretty interesting guy. He was actually my hairdresser, and he always had funny stories to tell, so naturally she wrote some of them down. But that's not really important. Right now, I live in the UK. That's all I'm going to say. Because my dad didn't really have a stable job, and neither did my mom, we sort of lived with my grandparents because they were retired and they were happy to support us. They could do that easily. So, and they're from the UK, by the way. My mom is English, and they are English as well. So they wanted to move back to the UK for reasons I won't say. And we just sort of went with them, my mom and I, because we couldn't really do anything else. And my dad at the moment, he's works with Adolphus, and he does not, he's not around because they're divorced, kind of, but that's okay. Because of my dad's job, he's been traveling a lot when I was young, so I'm fairly used to him not being around. It's okay. But I do see him from time to time, and I do have a good relationship with him, so don't make that mistake. Anyway, from what we do now, we kind of had to move to the UK, and when I first got here, I didn't know anybody. Like, I didn't have this huge group of friends when I was in the US. You know, when I lived there, I didn't have this huge group of friends. But when I moved here, I didn't have any at all. And I always went to private school in the US. I went to a small private school. So when I got here, naturally I did the same thing. But what I ended up signing up for was this school that just... It was one of those really snobby, nose-in-the-air type schools is the best way I can describe it. And some of the stuff they did just really didn't fit with me, because I'm not an engaging person. I don't like being social. I don't like doing stuff like that, so this school kind of was a bit too much. And a year later, I was sick all the time, so I couldn't really make it to school at all. So now I'm doing homeschool. That's how we got here. Like I said, this video is probably gonna have to be made again because nobody watches my videos right now. But I'm not about to try and comment on this gameplay again. That's just not happening. I've already played through this part of the game twice. I don't want to talk about it, not until I get some fresh stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna keep talking about my life. As far as what I do, another important thing, through my childhood, I was not an in-shape kid. I was not. I was not morbidly obese, I will tell you, but I was on the slightly chubbier side of what most kids would be. And for the first 10 years of my life, that really never bothered me. I could still do everything. I couldn't run as fast as some of my friends, but I could still keep up with them, so it didn't bother me. It wasn't until, I went through puberty, got into middle school, started having that sort of social anxiety and pressure, to impress girls and other things like that, that I realized, well, being fat is just not going to work anymore. I'm going to have to do something about that. So when I was 13, I basically just started working out at home, doing whatever I could, martial arts, push-ups, just doing some curls, whatever I could do. And that essentially turned into me doing what I do now, which is go to the gym like 4 or 5 days a week and train in splits and diet and stuff now. And I'm only 15, so that's quite young to be doing that. But I still take it very seriously, and I've seen some pretty great results from that. And the reason I'm saying that is not because I want to sound like a better person for that, but I'm saying it because just the simple reason that is a big part of my life. And if anybody wants to know more about me on this channel, they need to know I work out. I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and I take it very seriously. And I've made a passion out of it pretty much. So another thing I do is I play a lot of video games, and that started for me probably 2000. Since I was a kid, I liked watching wrestling when I was a kid, so I played wrestling games on my Wii, basically. And that turned into, eventually, when I got to middle school and made some friends, they all played the Xbox 360, so I got that, and I got an account online, and then I started playing video games, and since then, that's sort of been a staple in my life, just as much as my fitness. That's what I spend at least, I don't know, 50 plus % of my time is spent either playing video games or working on my physical condition. So those two things are very important parts of me and what I do. As far as other hobbies, there don't exist. I'm homeschooled. I'm forced to take my work quite seriously, but I don't enjoy it. I don't see a profession for me outside of something to do with gaming or fitness. I don't see a profession out of that because those two things are the only things that I really like. I also should say that I watch anime. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Started watching that a few months ago. Started with Dragon Ball, and now I'm almost through with Dragon Ball GT, so I watched that, and it's made me a huge fan, and it's really inspired me. It's been a big staple in my life, and I really enjoy it. But that's not super important. That's just kind of... Now we're getting a little bit too specific with stuff I like to do. But anime in general, art like that, really fascinates me, and I find it really cool that people can create such interesting storylines and such interesting things based on that. But, as far as other things which I do, like I said, they don't exist. I just don't do anything else. I go to the gym, I play video games, and I will watch a little bit of anime occasionally. Everything else is either sleep, eat, or work. So, you might ask, why do I want to make a YouTube channel? And I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to do this for a noble reason. I want to turn this into a profession. And I know doing that, trying to go for that from the start is ambitious. It might be even getting ahead of myself. I don't know. But that's the goal here, is to make this my life, because there's two reasons. And the most important is probably, if I get to make this my life, that means my life consists of something I like doing. I like making entertainment content. I've always liked the idea of being an actor, being something like that where I can influence people daily, and I can be a part of their lives, and I can make a difference in some way, shape, or form. And this, at age 15, is really the easiest way I can go about doing that. So that's why I make YouTube videos. That's why I'm going to start trying to do that, is because it is the best possible profession I can consider at this age. I am not going to work in an assembly line when I turn 16. I'm not going to get a job at the grocery store. I'm not going to do that because I don't like doing those things. Never, ever. If I get a job, I want it to be this. And it sounds greedy, it sounds bad, it sounds like I'm, just some idiot kid that just wants to sit and, make money for nothing, but that's not it. I want to do something I enjoy for my life, and I want to influence others, and I want to be a staple in people's lives, and I want to make a difference in the world, and I don't know how else to do that. So that's kind of why I got into YouTube, and plus, I really like playing video games, and I find as I play them and I do things, I get opinions I feel strongly about, and since I don't have a lot of friends, I don't have a lot of people to convey those opinions to. But this way, on the internet, I can kind of do it in an easy way, and I feel like I really get to make a difference in the way people think about stuff. I can feel passionate about things and convince others that my opinion is right and why it is, and I think that's cool. Another thing I really like is I've recently got into computers. I said I built my PC, and I did. I won't make a video on what it is just yet, like what I have in my machine, but I'll just say it's a very high-end machine. It is the high-end machine at the moment. It's got a 1080 in it, GTX 1080, and an i7. So I'm not going to go any further into detail than that, at least not today. But in learning about computers and learning to build them, I found that that was another thing I really enjoyed. And it's a little bit early for that, but I want to be a tech YouTuber as well. I want to, say what I think about tech and what I think people should spend their money on, and, advise people on how to build computers and stuff, because I've played on console for the first, 4 or 5 years of my video game addiction. I played on console, just a few months on PC, and I already like it way more. And if you're watching the gameplay right now, this is where I made a joke about sliding into the Wang Cave, and it is the only thing about my commentary that was lost on this that you need to hear, is that joke about sliding into the Wang Cave. Alright, now back to me. So, yeah, I want to be a tech tuber. I want to review products. I want to say what I think about that. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing on this channel, but just not for a while. I think the easiest thing to do right now is just pretty much, I guess, make gaming videos, just make playthroughs. If you hear some noise in the background, my mom works at home. She's also a landscaping manager at the moment, so she's quite busy talking on the phone. So if you can hear that, my apologies. But she won't be around too long. Yeah, I'm running out of stuff to say here, I'll be honest. I'm not that interesting of a guy. I should probably say what other games I play and what games I plan to do playthroughs of in the future. So other games I play right now is, I've recently got into Final Fantasy XIV, not very far into it, but I find I really like the MMO grindy type games, and that game sort of piqued my interest with that. So I'm about level 20 something in that game, trying to play through it. I'm not going to make videos on it though, because I'm not qualified to do that. Oh, and on the gameplay right now, I really don't like snakes, so I was walking up to that snake and just making sure everybody knew I didn't like snakes. Like I said, this is my second time doing the audio, so I feel the need to sort of touch on some of the stuff. And what else? Games I plan on playing in the future. I want to do a playthrough of... I was thinking at the end of this month I might do a Skyrim Remastered playthrough. Never played Skyrim before at all, just simply haven't played it, and I think the Remastered edition with some mods and some high quality textures might be the time to do it. Let me know if you want to see that. I would be more than happy to make that playthrough, of course, once I finish this one. As far as other games, Dishonored 2 is coming out later this year, and I think I should do some content on that. Outside of those two games, I won't really have time. There is another MMO I play quite a bit, and it's called Pirate 101, and you've probably heard of it, but you probably just laughed at it because you thought it was this little kid's game. But it actually has some of the best story and voice acting in an MMO that I have ever experienced, or ever seen. So I of course really enjoy seeing that. It's really good. And I would love to do a walkthrough of that game because I've played through it a couple times now. So I feel like I could really do an in-depth walkthrough to that game. And that is definitely something that I'm going to do. It's just a matter of when. Because I think more people need to see that game and more people need to support it. Because it is just... the developers need help, Their player base is falling off. And they need money to update the game because the story's not technically finished. It goes up to level 70 out of 100, I guess. And it's a long game. It'll take you over 100 hours to get through the story that there is now. And if you do all the side quests as well, it can go way over that. It's really long, but it's all pretty good content, and I love it to pieces. And I would love to make a walkthrough on it. But that's another game I play right now. And that's another game, if people are okay with it, I will make in the future. Also, of course, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, like I said, and the sequel to Dragon Ball Xenoverse will come out this month. So maybe when I get a little bit farther into the anime, and I'm sure I'm not going to spoil anything for myself, maybe then I'll make videos on that. I don't know, it just depends what people want to see. But first, people have to get to my channel, which I'm going to have to find a way to advertise it a bit better. But I think this video is important. I think me telling at least a little bit about myself, which I only really told a little bit. I didn't do a very good job of going into detail about my life, but I think this is important because if you do want to hang around on the channel and you do want to stay a member of the little community we're trying to build here, I think you should know me. I think you should know at least a little bit about where I stand, because then maybe you can understand my opinions and my thoughts a little bit better. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up the audio for this. Feel free to watch the last little minute or so that plays out. If you did take the time to watch this and to hear me out, there's no words I can express to say how much I appreciate it. I'm starting new. I need all the help I can get, so if you're willing to offer it, that is great. So thanks really a lot. If you could leave a like, that would be great. If you could share with your friends, that would be even greater. And a sub would always be appreciated. So I will be making another video soon, and if you enjoyed this one, stay tuned for that. Anyway, it has been your boy Night Slasher. I'm never gonna say that again. And that is it. Yeah, I will see you in the next one.